A famous athlete who was 7 feet tall used the internet to find people to rob. 2 people were thrown into the ocean living by a fake Power Rangers character. A young Canadian star put bombs in his car and drove to the Prime Minister's house. These aren't ideas about a plot. These are court records from 10 years ago. Each man had fans, roles in movies, and regular jobs. Until they didn't, now they do 30, 50, and even 90 years to live. Some judges were so scared by the proof that they couldn't even read it out loud. Dear Danny Masterson, on that 1970s show, everyone loved the sarcastic, curly-haired outcast. For 8 years and almost 200 shows, Danny Masterson played Stephen Hyde. In millions of homes from 1998 to 2006, he cracked jokes and kept cool while the rest of the group went crazy. Masterson was born in 1976 and has been playing since he was a child. Before he got his big break, he did commercials and small TV parts. He showed up in movies like Face Off and Dracula 2000. When 2016 came around, he was back on TV, this time with Ashton Kutcher in the Netflix show The Ranch. It looked like he was making a good recovery, but things changed. During the Me Too movement's peak in 2017, 3 women came forward with major charges. They said Masterson had raped and drugged them between 2001 and 2003, when he was very famous. All 3 of them used to be members of the Church of Scientology, which is the same group that Masterson was a part of. They said the attacks happened at his home in the Hollywood Hills. They said they couldn't speak out for years because of fear and because the church would not let them. The women told the police that people from the church told them not to report the rapes. One said she had to sign a deal not to talk about it. Someone else said she was paid to keep quiet. All of them said that coming out made them feel bad. It wasn't just about what took place decades ago. It was also about how tough it was to get justice. Masterson refuted all of it. He said that both people agreed to the meetings. His lawyers said the charges were false and there was no proof in the case. But he went to court in 2022. The jury couldn't agree, so the trial was thrown out. The case went back to court. It was different the second time. Masterson was found guilty of 2 counts of rape in May 2023. Again, there was a split jury on the 3rd count, so the prosecutors chose not to try again. But the harm was already done. A well-known television star had just been found guilty of rape. After some time on September 7, 2023, he was in court to hear what would happen to him. The judge didn't hold back. From 30 years to life in jail, that's how long she gave him. That is 2 sentences of 15 years to life, one right after the other. As she gave him her sentence, Judge Charlene Olmedo told him, "You are not the victim here." He took away his victim's words and choices, she said. And now he would have to deal with the facts. That day 2 of the women spoke. "Someone told you that you stole from me when you raped me. That's what rape is, taking someone's spirit." Someone else said, "I forgive you. I no longer have to deal with your illness." Masterson didn't say anything. He is now locked up in a state jail in California. He won't even be thought about for release for another 25.5 years. Michael Jace. Michael Jace was a well-known TV star. People knew him as Officer Julian Lowe from The Shield for a long time. From 2002 to 2008, he played that part in almost 90 shows. He played a police cop on the show who was pulled between his faith and his job. He seemed serious, decent, and determined to do the right thing, even though he was on a team that was crooked. He had already made a name for himself with parts in big movies like Forrest Gump, Boogie Nights, and The Fan before The Shield. In 1999, he even played Michael Jordan in a TV show. A lot of people thought Jace was a good choice to play a police officer. But Michael Jace was really hiding something much worse. That picture broke on May 19, 2014. April Jace was shot and killed in their Los Angeles home by Jace. Even worse, she was only 40. There were their 2 sons in the house at the time, 8 and 5 years old. The killing wasn't a mistake. It was angry, physical, and personal. Things were already tense that day. Jace thought his wife wanted to end their marriage. He also thought she was seeing someone else. He got mad and sent texts before she even got home. Then he started shooting when she got there. She was hit in the back by 1 shot. 2 more hit her legs. The kids were there when she fell down and they saw it all. Jace didn't run after that. It took him a moment to calm down before calling 911. He told the police officer, "I shot my wife." The cops found her dead when they got there, and the 2 scared kids who were close. Then Jace said something scary to his bigger son. "You care about your mom. Go give her a hug." 2 years after that, the trial took place. In 2016, Jace tried to say it wasn't murder. He told the judge that he didn't mean to kill her. Just hurt her. He said, "I was just mad. I only meant to shoot her in the leg." Prosecutors didn't believe it though. They asked, who shoots 3 times in the legs someone they love? They said it wasn't a mistake or a passionate moment. It was chilly. It was worked out. It was crime too. The judges agreed. Michael Jace was found guilty of second-degree murder on May 31, 2016. People didn't think it was planned enough for first degree, but it was too brutal for any other degree. He got 40 years to life in prison on June 10. 15 years for murder and 25 years for using a gun were part of that sentence. Jace finally said sorry in court. After telling the judge that what he did was wrong, the damage was already done. He broke up a family, hurt his kids, and threw away everything he had worked hard to achieve as an actor. Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham seemed like a star on the rise. He first did acting when he was 9 years old. He was already getting small parts in Canadian shows in 2007. He was in Diary of a Wimpy Kid by 2010. He was also in TV shows like Supernatural and iZombie. In 2019, he got a part in the TV show Riverdale about teens. He was also going to school at the same time at Simon Fraser University in British Columbia. Things looked good from the outside, but something bad was going on behind the scenes. Grantham's thoughts were going crazy by early 2020. Mood problems, self-hatred, and aggressive thoughts were making his life hard. It all went horribly wrong on March 31st, that year. Barbara Waite, his 64-year-old mother, was playing the piano when he pulled out a gun and shot her in the back of the head. She had no idea it would happen. He didn't try to get away. Instead, he used a GoPro to film her body and carefully told the camera, "I shot her in the back of the head." He even said it was likely that she knew it was him when she was dying. The murder was scary enough on its own, but Grantham's next plan was even worse. He didn't call the police, he stayed in the house. He smoked weed, drank beer, and looked at the body of his mother. Then he put 3 guns and a lot of bullets in his car. 12 Molotov bombs made at home, and even camping tools. He made a printout of how to get to Rideau Cottage, which is where Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau lives. That was his next goal. He got on the road and drove east for about 200 kilometers to the town of Hope in British Columbia. He later said that his plan was to kill the Prime Minister, but at some point he changed his mind. He also thought about hitting his school, putting bombs on Vancouver's Lionsgate Bridge. Not only did this happen once but several times. It was an actual emergency with a lot of deaths. Then the surprise that no one saw coming. Grantham turned the car around and drove back to Vancouver. He then went into a police station on foot. Don't use lawyers or hide. He just said, "I killed my mother." What they said changed everything. He was caught and charged with killing someone in the first degree. He did plead guilty to second-degree murder in 2022. Though, the court wanted to know how this quiet character turned into a killer. Psychiatrists said he had become very depressed. He was angry, suicidal, and had aggressive ideas all the time. It wasn't just sadness. He lost his mind completely. His defenders said that he couldn't think straight because he was sick. The court decided that he should be punished, but they also thought about how he was feeling. The judge gave him a life term on September 21, 2022. To get out of jail, you have to wait a certain number of years after being found guilty of second-degree murder in Canada. Grantham won't even be able to ask for release until the year 2036. He will be able to do it when he turns 28. If he ever gets out, Joe Sun. Joe Sun became well known for one silly part. In 1997's Austin Powers International Man of Mystery, he played Random Task, a role that was a parody of James Bond's Odd Job. Sun threw a shoe instead of a very sharp hat though. A lot of people laughed at that joke. It put him in the public eye for a short time. He had a few other small parts in cheap action movies in the 1990s, such as in Shoot Fighter, Fight Until You Die. He also tried mixed martial arts around the same time. Also, that didn't go well. He fought 4 times but lost all of them. "I've had 4 loses and a hurt ego." In the long run though, none of that would matter. Because Joe Sun wasn't just a liar or a bad fighter. He was hiding something much worse. On Christmas Eve 1990 in Huntington Beach, California, Joe Sun and a guy named Santiago Gaitan did a horrible crime. This was years before they became famous for a short time. As she walked her dog, they pulled a 19-year-old woman off the street. They used guns to force her into a car. After that, they took her to an empty area and raped, beat, and tortured her for hours. They said they would kill her. They left her naked and scared by the side of the road when they were done. The case went cold for years. Joe's son lived his life, got parts in movies, and even went on TV. No one had any doubts. Things changed in 2008 though. The police arrested him for illegal mischief. He had to give a DNA sample as part of his probation, which didn't seem like a big deal. That DNA matched traces from the attack in 1990. That alone should have been enough to lock him up for good. But there was something wrong. There had been too much time. Time had run out to file a lawsuit for rape. While they couldn't charge him with sexual abuse, the details of the case were so awful that they did charge him with kidnapping and torture. In 2011, he was found guilty of torturing someone. The lawyer said it was one of the worst cases they had ever seen. In September of that year, Joe's son was given a life term with the chance of release. But that wasn't the end either. After only 1 month, while he was waiting to be moved to a different jail, Joe's son killed his cellmate. His name was Graham Charles. He was 50 years old. Son hit him hard and choked him to death. Son first said it was for self-defense. That didn't make sense. He finally admitted to killing the person on purpose. He got an extra 27 years in jail in 2017 for that killing, but it wasn't added to his existing term. It was stacked on top of it. After he gets out of prison for life, those 27 years won't even begin to run out. Beausoleil. A long time ago, Bobby Beausoleil was well known in the underground film and music scene in California. Born in 1947, he played guitar, acted in weird art films, and tried to live an artistic life during the 1960s counterculture. He had parts in movies like Mondo Hollywood when he was only 22 years old, and even director Kenneth Anger, who hired him for Lucifer Rising. They also asked Beausoleil to write music for it, but he got caught up in something much darker before the project was finished. Beausoleil had joined forces with Charles Manson by the summer of 1969. He went to the house of Gary Hinman on July 25. Hinman is a music teacher and sometimes sells drugs. Beausoleil wasn't by himself. He was with Mary Brunner and Susan Atkins, who are both related to Charles Manson. The next thing that happened took a while. For 2 days, Beausoleil beat and stabbed Hinman, and on July 27 he finally killed him with a knife. The group drew a paw print and spread political piggy and Hinman's blood on the wall to try to blame the Black Panthers and start the race war Manson thought was going to happen. Beausoleil did not get very far. He was caught a few days later. They were caught driving Hinman's stolen car. There was a tie vote on his first hearing, but by April 1970 the decision was clear: murder in the first degree. On April 15, 1970, he was given the death sentence. After 2 years, California's Supreme Court overturned the death punishment, and he was given a life term. Even though Beausoleil was locked up, he kept making music. In 1980 he finished the music for Lucifer Rising, and put out other records while they were in jail. He made art, but it didn't erase the crime. He has been turned down for release many times over the years. It had happened at least 18 times by 2016. In January 2019, a parole board said he could go free, but the governor of California stopped it. He said the killing was horrible and that Beausoleil still didn't really understand what he had done. Then in 2025, another parole board said yes. But this choice, like the last one, is still up in the air. It needs to be approved by the government and the whole board. Bobby Beausoleil has been in jail for more than 50 years. As an artist, he will always be linked to one of the scariest cults in American history. Callian Walker, who went by the name KR, seemed like the next big thing in entertainment. Born in 1995, he looked good, moved well, and knew a lot of people. First he was a rapper, then he moved on to movies and TV shows. He was in the 2017 movie Kings with Daniel Craig and Halle Berry. After a year he got a big part in the remake of Superfly. He was also cast in the law drama In Contempt on BET. His job looked like it was going great on paper. But something else was going on behind the scenes. Walker had been getting in touch with young women, mostly models and potential artists, through social media since 2013. He said he could help them with their jobs. Instead, the authorities said he beat them up. The design was very scary. He would meet them on Instagram or Twitter and get their faith. When they were alone, he would abuse them. The fees added up quickly. In September 2018, Walker was taken by the cops. The case got bigger as more people spoke out. Prosecutors said he was a liar who took advantage of his fame. One of them told the jury that they would see a bad side of him. This was the case by April 2022. He was 27 years old. There were 6 counts against him in Los Angeles: 3 counts of forced rape, 1 count of attack to commit oral copulation, 2 counts of juvenile rape, and 2 counts of rape by intoxication. A few other charges against him were dropped, but the harm had already been done. Judge Joseph Brandolino spoke his last words on October 17, 2022. 50 years to life in jail. Walker was also told by the judge to sign up as a lifelong sex offender. His lawyer said the sentence was too harsh, and that they would be appealing. The judge did make one thing clear though: Walker's job was over. This man used to be in big movies, but now he's in jail for what could be a lifetime. Skylar Delian. Skylar Delian said he was a kid performer once. He only had a small part in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the early 1990s, which is all that is known about him. If you blink, you might miss him. But by the time he was in the news again, it wasn't for acting. From 1979 to now, Skylar wasn't trying to become famous, he was after money. It didn't matter how many people died to get it for him. It began in 2003 with John Jarvie. Delian met him while he was in jail for a short time. Later he talked Jarvie into putting $50,000 into a fake deal in Mexico. Before Jarvie showed up, Delian cut his throat and left his body by the side of the road. Jarvie was friendly and didn't know what was going on. Not sorry, just a plan to get cash quickly. But the next killings would be even worse. The Hawks family had worked hard all their lives. After they retired, they bought a 55-foot boat named Well Deserved and moved to Newport Beach, California. They chose to sell the boat and move closer to their grandchild in November 2004. That's when Skylar Delian called, pretending to be a rich customer. He came with other people. As a show of safety and trust, he brought his pregnant wife Jennifer Henderson and their kid. It worked. The Hawks were not careful. Along with Jennifer Alonzo McKinnon, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Delian led an attack on November 15 during what was meant to be a test run. They tied the couple up, made them sign over title of the boat, and took over their money. Then they wrapped them in duct tape, tied them to a 65-pound anchor, and threw them overboard into the Pacific Ocean while they were still living. No one ever found their bodies. Everything for a boat. Things went wrong with the plan very quickly. Delian tried to get into their bank accounts and sell the boat, but the police caught him. By December, people had been caught. What happened next in court was very scary. The acts were described as evil by the prosecutors. The Hawks family saw and heard everything terrible. It was best said by John Jarvie's brother. He cared more about a boat than the lives of 3 people. In 2008, the trial was over. Delian was found guilty of killing 3 people. The jurors said that the death sentence should be used. Judge Frank Fossil decided to carry out the sentence on April 10, 2009. She got life in prison without the chance to get out. There was also a death sentence for John Kennedy. Because McCain lied against the others, he got a shorter term. Skylar Delian, he is now on death row in California. Delian changed his gender while he was in jail and now labels as a woman. This is the last strange turn in a story full of greed, lies, and brutal murder. Rashid Byrd. Rashid Byrd used to be on the rise. He was more than 6 feet tall. As a kid, he played for 1 season with the Los Angeles Defenders, who were the Lakers' G League team. As big as he was, he got a small part in the Will Ferrell movie Semi-Pro, but he never made it to the NBA. He wasn't given credit, but you could see him as a player on the screen. For a short time it looked like he could make a living in show business, but something much worse was going on behind the scenes. Everything began to fall apart in 2019. A woman went to the LAPD and told them a scary story. That tip made it possible to look into it more. Detectives quickly found out that this wasn't the only case like this. Had already been found guilty of sexual assault in 2010. Before that, he was arrested in Washington in 2005 for attacking another young woman. What the police found was very scary. The Byrd had a routine. So that he could meet women, he used the fact that he was a former player and minor star. At first he was attractive, friendly, and sure of himself. Easy. But after they trusted him, he changed how he dressed. That beauty turned into pain. That's how it began. That's always how it began. Detective Dara Brown, who was in charge of the case, made it easy to understand. He started out as a flirt, but that quickly turned into rapes and fights. The killings didn't just happen in Los Angeles. From 2015 to 2020, Byrd went after women in many areas, including Santa Clara. More people who were hurt came forward as the cops looked into it. They all told the same story, and together they made a very scary picture. Byrd was finally caught on September 20, 2020. Years had gone by while he hid in plain sight. It was now over. Everything was shown in the trial that followed. People on the jury heard about the trickery. the lies and the violence. The charges included more than one person and more than one attack. It was clear that this person did not make a mistake. There was no doubt that this person knew what he was doing. The sentence was given by the court on March 1, 2024. 90 years to life in jail. That number was chosen at chance. It showed how horrible his acts were and how often they happened. Rashid Byrd was going to die in jail. He was no longer in the news because of basketball or movies. The truth was the only thing left. The LAPD sent out a word to the public after the decision. Anyone else who had been hurt by Byrd was asked to come forward. They thought there were more women who had been hurt but hadn't spoken out yet. People told me that the case could only be the beginning.